camera, roll, action. Currently, there are a lot of film titles with many different genres that you can watch anywhere, anytime you want. You can go to cinema and watch the newly released movie, or you can sit down and relax on your sofa while watching your favorite movie. But did you know that the films created have had developments over time? Have you ever wondered how was the first film was created when the technology was not as advanced as it is now? Then today is your lucky day because I'm Ricky Kurniawan from Bunda Mulia University is going to talk more about the evolution of film industry. First of all, we need to know more about the film itself. Film is a work of visual art that simulates experience through the use of moving images. Back in the early times, when camera have not been invented yet, people used to watch shadow puppet shows, where it's a form of storytelling which use flat cutout figures which help between a source of light and a translucent light. Then, in 1878, Edward Muybridge invented and created the first ever motion picture, The Horse in Motion, which was the moving image of a running horse. Muybridge film and tech inspired Thomas Alva Edison to develop his own camera, which will be useful in the film creation later on. We're moving on to the silent era, the era that marks the birth of the cinema. Just like its name, silent, films created in this era were silent without any kind of sound. However, all of the developments in this era helped shape the next era that came after them. This era began with the invention of cinematography by Lumiere brothers in 1895. They also held the world's first movie screening with their directional debut, The Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, in December 28, 1895. It is also worth to mention that Hollywood birth was in 1913. Everyone knows about Hollywood, right? It is the center of the film industry in the world. Later on, the silent era ends with the beginning of the talkies era. In this era, movies started to use sound, where you can hear conversations between actors and actresses, and you can also hear background music that makes the film seems much more real. This era begins with the release of Jazz Singer, an American musical drama distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures, one of the biggest film company in the world up until now. It was released in 1927 and recognized as the first time sound was synchronized in the feature film. Then, Technicolor was introduced in 1932. In this era, most of the films created with using more colors, not just black or white. The use of color in the film industry is important because our eyes can see many different various colors that stimulates our brains. Wizard of Oz, which was released in 1939, was not the first film with color. However, it helped bring Technicolor to the masses, makes it popular, which inspires all other filmmakers to make their films with colors. After that, CGI started to rise in the film industry. CGI is the creation of still or animated visual content by using imaging software. Visual effects are integral part of the modern film industry. They are used to enhance live action footage, creating immersive worlds that would be impossible to do in film without any CGI. The first ever film to use CGI was Vertigo, which was released in 1958 in its iconic opening sequence. After that, last but not least, in the current state now, most of the films now can be watched online on the streaming sites. And even some filmmakers, they are more interested to release their films in streaming sites. The first ever streaming site was Netflix, which was launched in 2007. Streaming service can be used by people to watch any kind of movie and anywhere they want to. They can watch it on televisions or even their mobile devices. Streaming services become more popular during the COVID pandemic because where people need to stay at home and they can't go to cinema. Okay, so let's recap what have we learned today. The development of film industry. First, the film was created. It's just moving images, and then the second, the silent era, the era where the movies created were silent without any kind of sound and still black and white. And then the third, we go moving on to the talkies era where films created started to use sound, and then we're moving on to the Technicolor era where movies started also to use many different colors, not only black and white. And then the CGI started to rise and the films starts to more develop over time. And then in the current state, more and more streaming services are there. For example, like other than Netflix, there are Disney Plus and Amazon Prime, Hulu, and many more. And yeah, film is not just a form of entertainment. It is also a form of art. So, do you know how film will develop in the future? Will it be better than now? Okay, that's all from me. Thank you for your attention and see you again next time. Goodbye.